Hello and welcome to this month's episode of Nacho Problems, where we turn ordinary recipes into extraordinary nachos. I'm Nacho Queen, but you can call me M. We're continuing our summer of fancy wedding-worthy recipes, and this episode we're making beef Wellington nachos. We're using Gordon Ramsay's own recipe, which calls for beef tenderloin wrapped in mushrooms, Parma ham, and puff pastry, and served with a red wine sauce. It looks as good as it sounds, so let's get started. Step 1, the chips. Our beef Wellington will be our chips, and for that we need some beef tenderloin fillets. This is a very expensive cut, so I've only got 2 little ones. Olive oil for frying, 1 sprig of thyme, some puff pastry. I used about half this box. Parma ham. I couldn't find Parma ham, so I'm hoping prosciutto will work. 2 egg yolks, beaten with 1 tablespoon water and a pinch of salt. Salt and pepper to taste. And the recipe calls for 500 grams of wild mushrooms. I couldn't find fresh, but I've got a nice blend of dried that I'll be using. There's usually instructions on rehydrating them on the back of the package, but you just need to bring a pot of water or wine to a boil, then remove from the heat and add in the mushrooms, soaking for 15 to 20 minutes. Then drain and chop. I do save the soaking liquid as it's great for sauces and broths. Now we're going to start by cutting each of our fillets into 8 pieces to make them more chip size. Next, we're going to sear each piece in a hot pan with a little olive oil. Since these are so small, they only need maybe 10 seconds on each side. We want them to still be rare in the middle. These look pretty good, so just remove them to a plate to cool. Next, we're going to add a little olive oil to our pan along with our rehydrated and finely chopped mushrooms. Add a pinch of salt, pepper, and some of our fresh thyme, and cook on high for about 10 minutes. The recipe says it should turn into a paste, but mine never did. That might be because I'm using the dried instead of fresh. Now just remove them from the heat and allow to cool. While that's cooling, let's cut our puff pastry down to size. I've laid out my sheet and I'm going to cut it into pieces that were meant to be evenly sized. But again, terrible knife skills. I can hear Gordon screaming already. I'm going to transfer these to a plate or cutting board and stick them in the fridge to keep them cool until we're ready to use them. Now that the mushrooms have cooled, we can start assembling our mini Wellingtons. Lay out a piece of plastic wrap onto your counter. Then add a slice of your ham and spread your mushrooms over it in a thin layer. Now, I would actually cut these ham pieces in half if I were going to do this again, as they're really salty, not to mention really expensive, so a little goes a long way. Now place one of the tenderloin pieces at one end and carefully wrap it up into a roll. Then just fold your plastic wrap over the meat and roll it all up into a little nugget, similar to how we did the chicken cordon bleu from last month. Now these will go into the fridge for at least 30 minutes to chill. Once chilled, it's time to wrap our Wellingtons in pastry, so get both back out of the fridge. Remove the meat from the plastic wrap, take one of the puff pastry pieces and roll it out just a little bit thinner, and then roll the meat up in it and pinch the ends to seal. Place it seam side down on a lined baking sheet and repeat. Next, add the water and pinch of salt to your egg yolks and give them a good beating. Then brush this over the Wellingtons before placing them back into the fridge to chill for another 30 minutes. While your oven is preheating to 390 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 C, score each Wellington across the top with a sharp knife. Now give them another brushing of the egg wash, and then it's into the oven for 15 minutes or until the pastry is golden brown. And that's our chips. Next up is step 2, the cheese. We're making a half batch of Gordon's red wine sauce for our cheese, and for that we need 1 tablespoon olive oil, 100 grams beef trimmings. I wasn't able to get this, so I'm omitting. 2 large shallots, peeled and sliced, 6 black peppercorns, 1 bay leaf, a sprig of thyme, a small splash of red wine vinegar, half a bottle of red wine, and 375 milliliters of beef stock. I'll be subbing in half of the stock for the mushroom soaking liquid from step 1. In a small sauce pot, we're going to add the oil and the beef trimmings if using and fry them for a few minutes before adding in the shallots. You should also add the peppercorns, bay leaf, and thyme at this point, but I misread the instructions and added them later. Cook on medium for about 5 minutes or until the shallots turn golden in color. Now we're going to add in a splash of vinegar and let it sizzle and cook for a few minutes before adding in our wine and bringing to a boil. Cook until your sauce is reduced to almost dry. Finally, remember the peppercorns, bay leaf, and thyme. Now, these would have absolutely infused more flavor into the sauce if I had put them in at the right time, but to be honest, it was really good anyways. Then add in your mushroom water and beef broth and bring back to a boil. Then lower the heat and simmer for 1 hour or until you lose patience. Now just drain through a fine sieve, and that's our cheese. Next up is step 3, the toppings. For our toppings, we have a little more of our rehydrated mushrooms and some thyme. I think we're ready for step 4, let's eat. We'll start with 2 of our Wellingtons, drizzle on some of our sauce, then top with the thyme and mushrooms, and we're ready for our taste tester. Now, I may have dared Gordon's wrath enough to make this dish, but even I'm not fool enough to suggest it's finger food. So we've graciously provided Margarita with a knife and fork for her tasting. Let me tell you guys, these were divine. They're a little on the salty side, but as I said, less ham would be good. I highly recommend you try them. Well, that's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, give it a like and please consider subscribing if you want to see more nacho videos. If you have an idea for a future video, you can leave a comment or I've linked my Blue Sky below. But you won't find me on Facebook, Instagram, or Threads. If you're looking to steal my apron, well, that's nacho merch, but you can get your own at a link in the description. Now, 2 of my favorite nacho lovers, no doubt inspired by my recent videos, have decided to declare their love of nachos by getting married. So I'm off to buy a new dress for the event. But that's not your problem. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.